Do you know you don't need a big backyard to have a lovely garden? You don't need a big backyard to have an intimate, relaxing garden. G'day viewers, it's Jeff from McPhee's Gardening, Melbourne, Australia. Today's video, I'm going to show you how a small garden can be just as good as a big garden, if not better. Easier to build, easier to maintain, and so much pleasure. Today's video, I'm going to show you a garden that's done from scratch till this very day. It's important when you're designing a garden that you have a couple of principles, basic principles in mind. When I first started, I found a niche in garden rejuvenation, because what happened, a lot of guys just wanted to mow lawns, and landscapers weren't interested in the small little makeovers because it wasn't worth their while. And let's face it, if you've got quite a few staff doing a small makeover, profit margin's pretty low. But by yourself, you can do really well. And I did. I found a little niche. I started off small gardens, garden rejuvenations, and a few little small landscapes from scratch. So today, sit back and just enjoy what we've done. And as I said, the main principles in small landscaping is ask the customer, the client, or maybe it's a do it yourself, and make sure your partner, ask that, are you happy with the type of plants? What do you want to use the area for? Just to relax, a cup of tea, glass of wine? Do you have a fire pit? Do you want to have some running water? You know, you've got pets, do you want children, do you want playgrounds? I think it's important to understand what the client wants and what your partner wants. What type of trees, what type of flowers, what type of focal points. Gather all this information, and even your basic knowledge, you'll do quite well. Plenty of research, there's plenty of information out there, but gee, it's such a pleasure when you start with something from scratch and you build it up, or even just rejuvenating a very small garden bed to bring it back to its glory. It really is satisfying. It really is profitable and rewarding as far as a small business is concerned. And if it's do it yourself, well, how good's that? Okay, let's have a look. So you'll see in this picture, this is from scratch. All we have is a small bottle brush in the corner, and the rest is pretty well much nothing. There's no lawn, there's no garden. It's a very heavy clay, heavily trafficked in the past. The previous owners obviously didn't worry about the garden. So we needed to do a lot of work to bring it up to its glory. The main thing with gardening, with lawns, is to make sure the foundation's right, and that starts with the soil. It's important that the soil is prepared. With garden beds, it's mulched, it's got compost mix run through. This particular area is a lot of clay, so it requires a lot of gypsum to get it going. So you'll see this is what it looks like. It's a small area. The block size is only 500 square metres, and we're only dealing with 150 odd square metres of garden and lawn out the back there, so it's not a big area. So a small garden can look pretty good. Now, we've selected a few. Our main aim was to screen out the neighbouring houses, which we're starting to do now. We used a couple of years old ago. We used established maples. Rather than get the small ones, we bought the established ones in the winter, and you can get them quite cheap. Jacaranda here, it's an established one. It's starting to get really exactly the way we want it. In other words, there's no canopy. We've lifted the canopy up so we can see through, and eventually that will take away all the space in the background there. So we looked at large trees, well, not large, well-established shrubs, jacarandas and maples. And obviously we've filled them in with ground covers. We've used azaleas, roses, camellias, and stuff like that. So you find that whatever plants you like, you can use, you can mix them together. Look, I'm not a big one for designs where people, you must have this, you must have that. We like this, that's important. I have clients that love maples and azaleas put together, or they might want roses put together with lavenders perhaps. Like, everyone has a different need for what the plant should be, and that's the main consideration. Forget about what you as a designer or you as a gardener want. Just have it that, what they like. Little vegetable garden, just a little high rise, bit of corn and some tomatoes going. Use a high rise, just a few sleeper high, fill a compost mix. Mrs. didn't take the washing off the line. Never mind. And we did a little orchard here. Now in our orchard we got cherry tree, we've got a lime, we've got some oranges, we've got mandarin, we've got lemons. So we've got fruit all year round for that. It's just a little soft area. Now you see in this photo, there's nothing. There's no decking. There's absolutely nothing to look at. So from there, we've gone to this. We've produced some decking, a nice wall vertical garden. Vertical gardens are really handy in a small area, so we've just always have pansies in the winter and petunias in the summer, and an array of shrubs and whatever. Built some little, garden, vegetable gardens. Lettuce we have all year round. Some strawberries and chilies, and just a small little containers which holds a lot. And of course, the highlight of our garden now, you've probably seen in our previous one of our videos, that we built a pondless water feature. Really, really relaxing. Have a beer beside. Have a fire pit going, and quite a lot of enjoyment. The pumps goes 24/7. Never had a problem. So it's got a few 18 months on it now, I think. So it's done really well. Sorry, 12 months nearly. It's done really well. Been happy with it. Some paving stones, Monday grass. Like the bird seeds. Lots and lots of birds in the garden. I think that's really relaxing. The good old windmill here. We got it from the other side of the city. Took a ferry, and I had to carry this thing on the ferry back to the car. It was quite comical. Everyone was quite impressed with my performance. So was I. And you'll see from here, we had nothing here. And this is our alfresco area. It comes in off our dining area. So we wanted something nice. So you'll see here now we put in a water feature. Nice big maple to cover the shade in the summer. In the winter it loses its leaves, so we've got the natural sunlight coming through. Dig a hole, bit of heavy plastic or pond liner, a few pumps, and my little boys there, little fish. Now I've had to put some wire just underneath the water because I have these great big birds. They used to come and eat them, so after the second time I thought, well, I better make sure we protect them for the future. And as I say, we're sitting out on the alfresco area with a nice cup of tea. Some of us might have a frothy, and listening to the sound of water and the ambience. So a small garden really goes a long way, I reckon. So that's just our little small garden, and we get a lot of pleasure out of it. Now, I've done a lot of these smaller. I haven't done one this big because it's you always go overboard, but I've done some that are probably not as big, but they've been very profitable. Now, as a gardening business, it's something to have a look at. Start off very small, just a small little patch, edges, perhaps just spade an edge and throw a few roses and a bit of ground cover, or perhaps you might put a water feature and, surround it by some ground cover, or whatever you and your client decide. When you're quoting for them, sometimes an hourly, I'm not a big fan of hourly rates, but sometimes you might have to consider that if you don't know how long it's going to take you. But what I do is tend to break it down into days, half days, full days. I'll have a look at a project and I'll think, gee, that's a day and a bit. We'll make it 2 days. So we'll quote on 2 days, 2-day rate, plus some materials. So that's going to cover you all your running around, getting the materials, a little bit of profit margin in there, and you've got your two-day rate that you can apply to the quote. DIY, if you're doing it yourself, well, look, time doesn't matter, does it? The thing is to think about, draw yourself a little plan. Pick out some focal points. It might be a major tree, it might be a water feature, it might be a table and chairs, it might be a rock. Pick out some focal points in the garden, and then as soon as you go out in the garden, your eye's drawn to that, and then you surround that with plantings of what you like. When I first started, I made a fatal mistake of planting a garden for someone. They said, look, we just want a garden, just do what you want. So I love roses, so I put some roses in and some maples, and as you can see, for 40 years I've always loved that type of thing. And of course the client didn't like roses, so I've had to replace the roses with something else. I made the fatal mistake. Sit down with the client, show them exactly what you're going to do for them so that they understand. Now, if you've got Photoshop, for example, you can take a picture of the garden and you can superimpose other products like table and chairs, or trees and flowers and whatever, and you can get a lot out of that and showing the customer before and after what it's going to look like. If you're not computer tech savvy, and I'm not, and I find Photoshop quite easy to use, but anyway, if you're not computer savvy, simply take the client around the neighbourhood. Have a look at what's growing in the neighbourhood, ask them what they like, and once you establish you know what they want, you've got a pretty good idea. Because you're looking in the neighbourhood, you know those plants are going to grow well in the garden that you're going to do up for them. The most important thing is prepare the foundation. Like a house, the foundation of the soil. I like using a lot of natural organic matter, leaf matter, gypsum if it's heavy clay, organic matter for sandy soils, cow manures, all the different varieties of natural products I try to use. Synthetic fertilisers serve their purpose, but they're no good if your soil is not prepared well, because the plant can't take the nutrients if it's stuck into a heavy clay, and it's like you've dug a hole, it's like a bowl of water that's going to sit there because the water can't get away. Little things like that to think about. Worth thinking about if you're in your business, if you're along your journey, and if you just want to do more than just mow lawns and you don't want to be a big landscaper. I reckon this is a little in between. It's a little niche that not a lot of people do. Again, it's just a confidence thing. Just start off small and build up from there. Viewers, look, thanks very much. Let me know what you think. Please subscribe and share around. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.